The biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs making is that they design a job, not a business. If you can't step away from your business for more than even a day, then you have unfortunately built yourself a job. But don't worry, I'm Natalie Sisson, host of the LifePilot Podcast, and I'm here today to tell you how to design your business to fit your lifestyle. So a little bit of context. I have been running my online education and coaching business since 2009. When I started it, I was actually living in Vancouver, Canada. Now, pretty quickly after creating my first digital product, I decided that I could do this business from anywhere. And so I booked a one-way flight to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Off I went with a suitcase packed, my laptop, a smartphone, and a little bit of terrible Spanish. Now, I might have jumped a little bit too early on in that business, but I was just so keen to flex my muscles and find some freedom and figure out how I could run this business with just a laptop and an internet connection from anywhere in the world. This, by the way, is back before Airbnb and Uber and all the things that make your life so easy now if you want to be a digital nomad. But even if you don't want to be a digital nomad, just know that working from anywhere back in 2009 was not something that many people were doing. And I decided to make it extra hard by flying to Buenos Aires and figuring out how the heck to rent an apartment shorter term, because I wasn't sure how long I'd be there, in a place where they were used to long-term rentals. They weren't used to that many tourists wanting to come in for a short time, and just figuring it all out. Now, luckily, I will say that community was huge and I was part of the Ultimate Frisbee community, made some friends over there, and they really helped me out. But then I had to navigate my poor Spanish, learning Spanish, and trying to work from anywhere in a place where internet wasn't exactly super common at that time either. Thank goodness for Starbucks, the only place at the time that had reliable internet. But what I will tell you is that the one thing that I had going for me is that I wanted the freedom and flexibility to run my business from anywhere. And I also wanted to be able to work the days that I wanted. And I wanted to make sure that I was a tourist in Argentina. I wanted to take days off to travel, weekends to go and explore. I wanted to be able to get up late or go to bed early and do whatever I wanted without being really, really beholden to being online for clients and coaching and just working all the time. Because that, to me, was not a freedom business. That wasn't having a freedom plan. Now, I happen to have written the book, The Freedom Plan, for this very reason. So in this podcast episode today, I just want to share with you 3 things to think about when it comes to designing your business to fit your lifestyle, because that is what I am all about here at LifePilot, about turning your dreams into reality one day at a time, about truly going after the life that you want and doing the work that lights you up, but always in a way that you design and on your own terms. So if that sounds good to you, here are my 3 ways for you to be able to do this. Step 1 is to define what freedom actually looks like to you. Is it that you want to work 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week? Is it that you only want to work a couple of days a week and you want 4-day weekends? What does your version of freedom look like to you? Is it that you want to be in one place when you're doing it, either a co-working space, your own office, or some sort of a hub? Or do you want the freedom and flexibility to work from cafes, restaurants, rooftop bars, friends' places, you name it, airports, whatever it may be? So really defining what freedom looks like to you. But predominantly what we're talking about here is how many hours do you want to be investing in your business per week? And how much money do you want to be making from your business? And from there, you can work backwards pretty quickly as to, okay, if you want a $100,000 a year business or a 6-figure business and you want to work 10 hours a week, then you know how much you have to be earning every single month, pretty much. And it's about $8,333, unless I've done the math really poorly. So that is one way to think about it. So then you need to figure out, okay, if I'm doing 10 hours a week and I need to earn $8,000 a month, you're roughly looking at about, let's just say, $2,200 for every 10 hours. So you need to be making about $220 per hour in the currency of your choice to make that possible. So you need to then figure out, okay, am I doing this through a combination of services, products, or both? And we'll talk about that when we get to aligning your offers to the business that suits you. But can you see very quickly how you can work out, okay, that just doesn't seem even feasible or possible right now versus, okay, I'm actually a little bit closer to that dream than I thought. So first off, work out how much you want to earn, how many hours you want to work. And then once you've got that clear, the second thing I want you to look at is what are the offers that align with my vision of a freedom business? So in my course, Monetize You, I talk about 10 different ways that you can make money. There are a lot more, but I actually talk about some of the income streams that I've had in my business over the years, which are digital products, coaching, one-to-one, group coaching, memberships, being an affiliate for products and services that I believe in, speaking, writing books, sponsorship, and advertising. And those are probably, the key ones there that I would say, as well as consulting. Now, every single one of those income streams that I've just talked about has a different level of freedom associated with it. So for those of you who couldn't think of anything worse than showing up to group calls or to having a membership where you're constantly having to be on and active and part of a community and building relationships and putting out new content, etc., then that's probably not the business version for you. But you might be amazing at creating digital products and things that people can buy, courses, products, etc., that you can create in your own little cocoon and then market and put onto a really great evergreen system so that they're constantly selling once you've built an audience and a list, or maybe you're using ads particularly well. So that is a really great option if you prefer to be more behind the scenes, creating great value that people need, solving a problem that people have through courses or digital products. These can be workbooks, templates, done for you things that people can just plug and play into their business or into their life, so to make their life easier. And that doesn't require you to be upfront, personal, coaching people, being of service and community. It's very much behind the scenes. And that could work really well for you if you're that type of person and that really suits you. You might be like me where you like a combination of both. So I started out by creating digital products and then courses. And I found that whilst that was amazing and I could see all these sales going through and people were like emailing me and saying this was great or it really helped, I didn't really feel super connected to it. So I wanted to personally know where they were at in their journey since using my product or going through the course. How were they? What were they up to? What changes had they made? What results had they got? Because I'm that type of person. I'm a connector. I'm a social person. And I get energy by helping people take action and seeing them actually go for it in terms of their dreams and their goals in life and work. So that's when I started creating more courses with group coaching built in and live calls so they could actually turn up and show up and see their beautiful faces and get questions and answer questions and really see the momentum and the progress that they were making. And then I could hold meetups around the world when I was traveling a lot and actually get to meet people in person. That's when I started offering retreats and in-person workshops, which for some people, as I said, would probably just be their version of hell. So again, you need to pick what offers are going to work for your vision of freedom and what you truly want. And then the third thing to think about is if you are working a 10-hour work week, a 20-hour work week, heck, you might want to work 40 hours a week if that gives you the freedom lifestyle you want. But I would suggest that you probably need something that just gives you more spaciousness for creativity, for adventure, and for exploring, and for some stillness and you time, family time, partner time, friends time, whatever it may be, because that's what makes a truly rich life that you value so much. And you look back on and go, man, I really lived. This was a beautiful life and it was so rich and it had so much purpose. And it was really well defined and I had a vision for it. And that's the way I showed up with intention every single day. That's how I'd like to be on my deathbed, looking back on my life going, yeah, I gave it my all. I lived to the fullest and man, did I have an adventure and did I make a huge impact in people's lives and had so many crazy, awesome experiences and created so much growth. And I was constantly learning and stretching myself and just really enjoying all the present moments. So that's the kind of life that I want to live. And my business needs to fit that. It really does. It needs to work with me for that purpose because that's gold. Like that to me is winning the lottery because you've made it, because you've designed your life on your own terms and you're living it. The third thing is how are you going to actually spend that time every week? And what I'd love to point out is that it is really great if you have some sort of structure to your week because discipline leads to freedom. And even though people fight against that and they fight me on it, ultimately what you realize is when you have some structure that gives you more certainty, there's a lot of freedom that actually comes out of that. So let me give you an example. In a 20-hour working week, right? So you might have 4 hours each day. Then you've got 4 hours in which to do stuff that's really purposeful and moves the needle in your business so that you're feeling productive and like you're actually doing really great stuff. So let me give you an example of my week. Monday is work on the business. It's my CEO day. It's where I put my CEO hat on and I work on the business. So what does that mean? I look at my strategy. I look at my business goals. I see how I'm tracking. I might check in with my small but nimble team and just make sure that everybody's feeling really good. I'll also be looking at my offers, what's coming up, planning out my calendar, my content, and really looking at where I can move the needle most in my business. So that's definitely big picture vision, working on the business, looking at it from a top-down approach and thinking about all the things, the operations, the systems, how all that is working out. And then Tuesday and Wednesday for me right now are my coaching and client days, club days, and content days. So all the C's just makes it easier for me to remember. So I make sure all my coaching calls are delivered on Tuesday and Wednesday, my time here in beautiful New Zealand. And that works really well. So I typically will do them in the morning and then some in the evening, depending, because I have a pretty international client base. But there's really only one evening a week I work, and it's always a pleasure. And I have no more than 2 calls during that time. It's also when I service my LifePilot Legends Club. And for that, there are just 2 accountability calls each week in a different time zone, and they're half an hour. So that is brilliant, and it keeps it really consistent and regular. And it's also my time to answer any questions in the club, celebrate people, and just be working on any content, masterminds, or workshops that I really want to deliver for the club so that the members are getting the most value ever and becoming the legends of their own life. And then the third thing I'll be doing is working on content for social media in terms of my podcast, any videos that I want to put out, short form reels, carousel posts, etc., and where I'm posting on social, mainly Instagram and LinkedIn at this point. And so I just know those are the 3 C's: coaching, my club members, and content. And often one begets the other. So when I'm coaching people, I get all these ideas for content that I want to be talking about, because it's likely that if they're having a challenge or there's an opportunity in front of them, or maybe they're getting held up with their mindset, or they're getting stuck on something, or they're procrastinating, or they're trying to break down a big juicy goal into something smaller, I can then turn around and use examples of that in my own content, because it usually sparks a lot of creativity and motivation for me to go, oh my gosh, we should actually be talking about this publicly. Doesn't deserve just to be in the club. And I would never use any people's private information, but I can take an example, right, and make it applicable to you so that you get a little bit of my coaching and then hopefully come join me in the Legends Club. So all of Tuesday and Wednesday is about being creative, being on form for my clients, coaching them, advising, mentoring, learning, teaching, all the good things. And that usually spills over then into content that I want to create, and often batch creating. So I'm really excited to be shooting this video today from a podcast studio that I hired specifically to batch out a whole lot of videos and podcast content. And I did that because I just knew that in my own studio, which is beautiful and amazing, it's just not set up yet. And I am not making the time to batch these out. So I had to pay for the privilege to do this, come to the professionals and just make it happen, because my time is precious. I have shorter days. I drop my toddler off to daycare and then often will be picking him up. And I just know that really I have 4 to 5 hours of solid work in me each day. Outside of that, I want to be doing other things like fitness, socializing, spending time with my gorgeous family, reading, learning, whatever it may be. But ultimately, those sort of 4 to 5 hours of what I have when I'm really on form. And then Thursday is what I kind of call tactical Thursday. So it's when I'll be looking at finances. It'll be when I'm looking at any analytics behind the scenes. It might be when I'm working with my team on things that we need to do. It'll be task orientated, lots of T's. So we went from C's to T's. And essentially, it's a day that I just get to work around those things. Any admin or tech stuff as well will happen on a Thursday. And Friday, so excited to say that I have brought back Freedom Fridays. So for me, Friday used to be a day where I could just do whatever the heck I wanted. And I think this is really important, even if you're only working a 10 or 20 hour work week or whatever it is for you, that you still have some just spaciousness and time to do whatever the heck you want in it. So for me, Freedom Friday can be going on a hike with friends or going up into the forest with my dogs, just me, for hours at a time. It could be listening to podcasts. It could be reading a book for hours in a cafe. It could be sitting by the beach doing meditation. It could be cycling. It could be going to the movies. It could be painting. So something where I get to choose what I want to do. I can choose to work if I wish. Like if I'm really excited and I'm working on something juicy like a new offer, then that's probably the time that I could. But ultimately, I really want to reserve that time for me and also for pampering, like massage, acupuncture, breath work, whatever it may be. And I find that by giving yourself that Freedom Friday, or even if it's 2 hours out of that day, putting that aside for just you to just be, makes you so much more effective in your business because it recharges your battery, it energizes you for your creative ideas, and ultimately it just makes you be a better person. It brings out the best in you, knowing that you have that 1 day a week or half a day or however much you're going to gift yourself. And Friday is just a cool day to do it because usually it's rolling into a weekend. So if you do want to take a long weekend or go away or spend time with friends and family, it's just a good time to have it off. At the very least, just make it flexible Friday so you can choose to work or choose to do things that light you up, that ultimately are going to make things just better overall and more enriching in life. And it doesn't have to be a Friday, it can be a Wednesday, a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Monday. You do you, but definitely carve out some time for you. And if you can't do it during the week, it's just not possible, you've got kids, family, whatever, maybe a part-time job, a side hustle, then at least on the weekend, have 1 day where you are digitally free and disconnected. And again, I think that's so important. Try not to ever work on the weekends. I am not a fan of hustle culture. In fact, I'm a fan of doing less work and using the hours that you do have to be way more productive and way more effective. Because the minute you add in a weekend where you can sneakily get some work in, and we've all done it, and it's totally great. If you need to do it, you need to do it. But what it starts to do is deplete you, and it just starts to deplete your energy system week after week. If you're starting to eat into your weekend when you should be having social time and rest time and just doing things for you, ultimately, before you know it, you're working all the time. You never have a break. You feel burnt out. You feel resentful. You're not doing your best work, and things start to go sideways. And it happens over and over. And I see it with my friends. I see it with my loved ones. I've seen it with myself. That is how I burnt out, by never stopping. So for the last 5 years, I've been much more about lifestyle first, freedom first, and business second, in the way that the business supports the lifestyle. So it's not like you're treating it like a second-rate citizen. It's just that you are saying, my business is important, and the people that I serve and the clients that I have and the customers that I love are really important. But living life with intention and leading by example and putting my health and wellness and my peace of mind first ultimately makes me the best person I can be to show up for my loved ones, my friends, my family, and my clients. So I need to invest in me before I invest in my business, because everybody benefits when you're looking after yourself first. I hope those tips help today. Just recapping, the 3 things you want to figure out is, what does freedom in your business look like for you? So really figuring out how much time and money you want to make. The second is, which offers or ways in which you're going to make money feel freeing to you? How do you want to turn up? Which income streams do you want? And how much flexibility or certainty do you want in your every single week working in and on your business? And the third is to figure out your structure for the week and which of those days of the week are going to be put towards marketing, content, finances, operations, creativity, creating offers, etc. And I really hope that just gives you a different frame, or maybe a more nuanced frame for you to work within and actually design the perfect business for you, not what somebody else said you should be doing. Even if you have a great coach on your side, they should never be saying, do exactly this, because if you follow my path, you're going to get my results, because you are uniquely you. That's why my course, Monetize You, is all about how do you take your skills, your experience, and the things that make you uniquely you, and turn that into ways to make more money and earn income that makes an impact in your life and others. Thank you so much for listening to the LifePilot Podcast. I'm Natalie Sisson. You can head across to lifepilot.co/podcast to see all the previous episodes, as well as get this one. And if you do want a system and methodology for turning your dreams into reality 1 day at a time that puts more intentionality into your life and your work, check out lifepilot.co.